Hi, my name is Ashley Giamona, and I'm a program manager for Girl Scouts of Northern New Jersey. Thanks for tuning in for Activities with Ashley. If this is your first week, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. This week we have something very special for you on Activities with Ashley. We have a very special guest. The CEO and President of Girl Scouts of Northern New Jersey, Betty Garger, is going to read you the Brownie Story. I'm so excited to have her on Activities with Ashley. Take it away, Betty.
Hi everyone, I'm Betty Garger, CEO of Girl Scouts of Northern New Jersey, and I hope everyone is well and staying safe during this time of social distancing, which I'm sure those are words you've heard a lot, and while we're staying at home. One of my favorite things about Girl Scouts is our many traditions, and traditions are things that have been happening for a very long time and are passed from people to people as a way of remembering things that we've done many years ago. As you probably already know, Girl Scouts was founded in 1912 in Savannah, Georgia by Juliet Gordon Low. And she had become friendly with the people who started the Girl Guides in England. And the Brownie Story originated way back then. And that was a way to talk about the way we could help others. So especially now, while we're home and doing things that are very different than what we normally do, I'd like to talk about the Brownie Story and share that with you. I remember hearing this story when I was a Girl Scout many years ago, and very interesting to me was the fact that the two main characters in the story are named Mary and Betty. And of course, I've already told you I'm Betty, and my best friend growing up is Mary. And she lived across the street from me, and we were Girl Scout sisters together. And we always like to think the story was about us, even though we knew it wasn't. But when you read a story, it's good to pretend and imagine. So I want to share the Brownie Story with you. If you are Girl Scout Daisy, you might not know the Brownie Story, but if you have already bridged to Brownies or are older, you may have heard it and you may remember it, but I hope you'll listen along. All right, so this is the Brownie Story. So once upon a time, two sisters named Mary and Betty lived in a little house in the north of England. They lived with their father and grandmother. Their father was a tailor who worked hard all day. At night, he tried his best to keep the house clean. Mary and Betty, they just played all day. Bairns are a burden, said the tailor one day. Children were called bairns in England, especially in the north of England and in Scotland. I had to look that up because I didn't really know how to pronounce bairns. It's spelled B-A-I-R-N-S, but internet told me it said bairns. Bairns are a blessing, said the grandmother. Not my bairns, said the tailor. They do not help me. But they are not bad bairns, my dear, said the grandmother. They are as playful as little squirrels. And about as helpful, said the tailor. Just then the door flew open. Mary and Betty ran in. Their arms were full of moss and acorns, which they threw on the floor. Take that outside, said the tailor. Betty, you take it out, said Mary. Betty kicked the moss and acorns across the room and out the door. The tailor stormed out. You pick them up, Mary, said Betty. I don't understand why Father is so angry. Their grandmother answered, He is tired, and you two do not help him. But what could we do, Granny? The girls asked. Many things, my dears. Ah, what this house needs is a brownie or two. What are brownies, Granny? Very helpful little persons. They come before the family is up. They clean, water flowers, and help in many other ways. They always run off before we can see them, but we often hear them dancing and laughing. Oh, Granny, where are they now? Only the wise old owl knows, my dear. Who is the wise old owl, Granny? I don't know, my dear. That night, Mary kept thinking of the brownies. There is an owl living in the big tree near the pond, she thought. If she is the wise old owl, she can tell me where to find a brownie. Mary got up and ran to the tree. The owl was sitting on a high branch, so she climbed up. Please, said Mary, where can I find a brownie? I know of two brownies, said the owl. Tell me, where do they live? In your house, said the owl. Then why don't they help us? Perhaps they don't know what needs to be done, said the owl. I can show them, said Mary. Can you? Asked the owl. To find one of the brownies, go to the north side of the pond when the moon is out. Turn yourself around 3 times while you say, twist me and turn me and show me the elf. I looked in the water and saw. And then that part is blank. So some of you who have already bridged to brownies know the answer, but I hope you'll follow along anyway. And I want to show you a picture. So here's the brown owl high up in the tree, and here's Mary when she's going to go look in the pond and see where the brownie is and who the brownie is. Look into the pond to see the brownie. You will think of the word that ends the magic rhyme. Mary climbed down and ran to the pond. She turned around 3 times while she said the rhyme. Then she looked into the pond, but she only saw her own face. Well, there's no brownie, just me, she said, and there's no word that seems to rhyme with elf. Helf? Jelf? Melf? How silly. Mary looked into the pond again. I am supposed to see a brownie, and I only see myself. Myself? How strange. I have the rhyme, but no brownie. So Mary went back to the tree. What did you see in the pond? Said the owl. I saw nothing but myself, said Mary. Go home and speak to Betty about it, said the owl. Then if you find the brownies, come to our magic brownie ring. There, all the brownies talk about all the helpful things they have done. I help them find new things to do. Mary was surprised. Brownies meet here in the woods? Yes, said the owl. Every time the moon is full, you will hear the call to the brownie ring. Round and round and round about, turn about in and out. Come into the brownie ring, ready for most anything. Mary hurried home. She woke Betty and told her what had happened. They both laughed out loud when they realized who the brownies were. Do you know who the brownies were? It was myself, right? I twist me and turn me and show me the elf. I looked in the water and saw myself. They tiptoed down to the kitchen and did every bit of work they could find. When the father came in, he looked around and rubbed his eyes. The table was set. The floor was clean. The room was as bright and shiny as a new penny. Granny, Mary, Betty, he called out, our brownies have come back. For many mornings after that, the tailor tried to get up early enough to thank the brownies, but he was never able to catch them at their work. Early one morning he heard singing. It must be the brownies, he thought. In the kitchen he saw Mary and Betty dancing around the room. What have we here? The tailor asked. Where are the brownies? Here, said Mary and Betty. When Granny heard the noise, she came down too. Bairns are a blessing, said Granny to the tailor. I told you so. And ever after, the tailor's brownies were the joy of his life. Every day they found more things to do to brighten their home. Sometimes he wondered out how they learned to do so much. But he never found out, for he never saw them creeping out into the woods to join the other brownies in the magic brownie ring. So here's a picture of what the brownie ring looks like and the brownies out in the woods. Of course, that's not what we look like when we're in our brownie circle. And then here's Mary with the owl, and here's some of the sewing that they did. So now, while we're home and not able to go to all the places that we used to go, our adults may need our help. Our moms and dads and grandparents and aunts and uncles, they have a lot to do these days. So if you could help and be a secret little brownie, I know that would be appreciated. Whether it's helping with your brothers and sisters or setting the table or doing the dishes, keeping your room clean, not fighting as much with your brothers and sisters if you have any, all different things that you can do to help be a little brownie. And of course, when we're back together in Girl Scouts, we meet in schools and in community centers and in people's houses. We only go into the woods to do our nature treks and things like that. But this is a great story and a great tradition. So I thank you for sharing it and listening to me as I told you one of my favorite traditions in Girl Scouting. And I hope that maybe you can share some of yours with someone else in your family or even post it to our social media. All right, thank you. Stay well, be healthy, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.